Okay, so it is time for my midweek book review for the third week of April. This is amazing. We're so close to the end of April, and I can literally see in my mind the amount of books I have left to go. Let's discuss what I have been reading so far this week. First up, The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. If you have not seen my review on this book, it is in my reviews playlist, so you can check that out. So I've had a bit of a journey with this series. I gave this book 2 stars. I gave this book 1 star. So picking up this book, I was a little bit nervous to see, very apprehensive to see how I was going to go with it, and I just, really didn't think that it was going to go well at all. But I was very, very much surprised. I feel like Tolkien has matured in his writing and has taken some creative liberties that he did not take in those other 2 books that I've shown you. I found this book to be really entertaining, and the creatures, the beings introduced into this book that weren't in the others, I found to be incredibly intriguing, and that made for a wonderful journey. In fact, I'm reading these books, the ones I just showed you, so Fellowship, Hobbit, this one. I'm reading them and then I'm watching the associated movies, and with Fellowship and Hobbit, I felt that the movies were so much better than the book. Not with this one. I feel like this book is so much better than the Two Towers film. There's just so much for me to love about this book, so I end up giving this book 3 stars, and it ended up being a really good read. So yay, and thank you J.R.R. Tolkien. The second book, this one I'm currently reading at the moment, is Karen Marie Moning's Dark Fever, the first book in the Fever series. Now, with my April TBR, I did discuss that I was going to be reading a book called High Voltage, but that book is the 10th book in the series. I ummed and ahed a little bit and then just ended up purchasing this one to give it a go and see how I would go. It took me about a chapter or 2 to actually get into this book, but once I realised what Karen Marie Moning was doing with this book, I really started to appreciate and love this book, and I'm really enjoying the adventure that this book is providing. And let me say, we are not questing, which is really good. And yet Karen Marie Moning manages to have an adventure without questing far away outside of the hometown that you're in. Not to say that our protagonist is currently in her hometown. Something that happened prior to the book starting, so it's not a spoiler, is that her sister was murdered in Ireland, so she's travelled overseas to investigate the death of her sister. But in saying that, this is not a mystery book, although it does read like one. This is, I don't know if it's a fantasy or if it is if it's a supernatural book, but either way, it has been a really exciting read. Let's just say that our protagonist gets to where she's going. She gets to Ireland to start this investigation of why her sister was murdered and what was going on there, and she meets so much more. There is so much more to what's going on than meets the eye, and it's just been incredible. There is no info dumping here at all. Everything you need to know is parceled and pieced out over the course of the book, and it makes it such an intriguing read that even now I'm towards the end of this book and I don't know nearly enough of what I want to know, but I'm so intrigued to learn more. So I really do I'm incredibly thankful to Karen Marie Moning for writing this book this way. So I haven't finished reading it yet, but I am thinking it's going to get about 4 stars from me because I really am enjoying the read. So that's Dark Fever. I have also begun this book, Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. I'm going to try and avoid the glare as much as I can. I'm sorry if it does come through. There's nothing I can do about it. It has a covered cover, if that makes sense, and it's a hard book. I don't normally read hard books. Anyway, I was really excited to start this book, and only because I'd reached my target of where I wanted to be with this book did I start this book tonight. And just like with this book, I did not enjoy the first couple of chapters because I love Mistborn. You guys know how much I love Mr. Sanderson. Has become my favorite author. I didn't know about him prior to this year, and then I read the first book in the Mistborn series, The Final Empire, and Sanderson just became my favorite author of all time. But this is very different to the Mistborn series. In fact, this is more of a superhero slash sci-fi book, where Mistborn is definitely a high epic fantasy book series, I should say trilogy, with hard magic systems. I'm yet to really understand the magic systems of this Steelheart universe, but it definitely reads as much more of a superhero story. I did look it up though, look up the genre of this book, and the research that I looked up told me that it is a superhero sci-fi. So it's much more specific. But I have gotten quite a few chapters in. I'll just show you. I'm there. So I am about 10 chapters into this book, and as I said, I only just started tonight and I'm flying through. It doesn't look like I've read a lot, but I feel like I'm flying through this book because now that I know what's going on, I feel a lot more grounded in this world, because, you know, with any new world that you're being introduced to, it takes a little while to ground yourself. Now that I'm grounded in this world, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen next, and yeah, it's really amazing. So I would personally call this also a subgenre of this book dystopian, because there are reasons, for reasons that cannot be explained without spoiling. The world this is set in has, come into a dystopian sort of way, and there are tyrants ruling the universe, and yeah, our protagonist is a rebellion to that tyranny, and it's just been a really interesting read. But one thing I will say about this protagonist that I hope is not a spoiler, and I hope you guys don't mind me saying, is that this protagonist is very different to any other protagonist that I have read for any kind of work like this. So I haven't read a lot of sci-fis, I haven't read any superhero stories, but for Brandon Sanderson, this is very different to his protagonist in the Mistborn series, in that this protagonist, who is human, who is not part of the rebel force, shall we say, there is a rebel force that exists that wants to fight against the tyrant. He's not part of the rebel force, but yet he seems to know more than the rebel force even knows. And that is, I love that, because he can come into this rebel force and say, well, look at what I actually have to offer. I may look like a kid, because he's referred to as a kid. I don't know if we actually have his age. I think he's 18, but he's referred to as a kid. And he says, you know, there's more to me than meets the eye. I may look like a kid, but I have these mountains of notebooks back at my place of all this information that you guys probably don't even know that I can assist you with. And it's been a really fun journey. So it took me a while to get grounded, but once I did get grounded with it, I really was able to enjoy it, and I'm having a lot of fun with it for sure. The final book that I'm going to discuss with you guys is this one. I have not started it yet, but I am going to finish off the week with reading more of this one, and then as I go into week 4, I will finish it. It is the final book in the Mistborn series, Mistborn, the Hero of Ages. As I said, I have not started my picking up from where I left off in week 1 of April. But this is a great book. Of course it is. It's part of the Mistborn series. I do love this series, so I'm really looking forward to getting into it. But just thought I would show it to you guys. So what is my plan for the rest of the week? Well, tomorrow I'm going to be finishing off Dark Fever. Really looking forward to seeing how this wraps up, because I feel like there's so much that still needs to be revealed. But it is, at the very least, there are 10 books in this series. So Karen Marie Moning has a long time to reveal everything, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how this wraps up. And if it wraps up really well, I might go on to read book 2, which is not something I thought in the first couple of chapters, but she's done a really good job, you guys. So I'll finish this book off tomorrow. I'll continue to read this book tomorrow. Probably with the rate I'm going, I'll probably finish it off on Friday, Saturday the absolute latest, and then be reading some Mistborn on Saturday and Sunday, and that will complete the week for me. And that's when we'll get to our end of week wrap up for week 3, and then we'll get on to week 4, which is my continuing on of series week. So I'm really looking forward to week 4. I love my 4th week in every month. So we'll discuss all of that then. Until then, that is these 3, not the 4th one. These 3 are the books that I've been reading for this week. So if you'd like to buddy read along with me, feel free to do so. If you have any comments, thoughts, and or questions, please do leave them in the space below. I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday with reviews in between, letting you guys go peace, blessings, and so much love. Mwah! Happy reading. Bye.